Jeremy from Tuned Up Brewing Company, and wanted to just welcome everybody back to Inside the Tap Room. Last night I had the pleasure of attending the annual conference for the Brewers of Pennsylvania Association. What an awesome event that was. We hosted it at Troegs Brewery. It's my first time visiting there, and man, I gotta tell you, that was what a hell of a brewery they have there. It was a really cool place, warm and inviting, and it's just huge. Great beers on tap, and just it was cool to kind of be able to get in and around all their different brewing stuff. You know, the tap room's kind of surrounded by the whole brewery operation. So really impressed at what the guys at Troegs have going on there, and it was cool to get to meet some of them and hang out with some of their staff last night. Best thing about the Brewers Association meeting last night was great is I got to really interact and kind of get to know a lot of the big breweries that are around the state of Pennsylvania. Got to hang out with Bill Kowaleski from Victory last night. That was a real treat. Bill's been a hero of mine since I started home brewing in 1995. I got to chat with John Stemler from Free Will. Both of those guys just got elected to the board of directors for the Brewers Association, so it was really nice getting to spend some time with them. As well as I got to spend some time with Bob Hager from 10-7 Brewing Company. They just opened up a few months ago, as well as David from Gear House Brewing. Dave and I got to chat for quite a bit. We both served in the military, so it was kind of good to see another military guy making its way up. Dave's got a long history in the brewery arena, working for several different breweries and now making it on his own, so glad to see him doing well. Also got to meet a couple of folks from Bond Place Brewing. Yards was there. Just truly awesome collection of great breweries and a lot of places I haven't been, which reminded me I need to start getting out of our own tap room a little more and start traveling around and meeting folks. And that seemed to be a sentiment shared by a lot. So hopefully this year we'll be able to do a little bit more of that. And we had a couple of good panel discussions that I thought were really good, and we're going to try to maybe do a little bit promotion around the ideas that were discussed to our consumers in our tap room. First and foremost, we talked a lot about the upcoming sales tax proposal by the state. The state seems to be eager to get a hold of more cash out of breweries by taxing beer that you all are ordering, here at the bar, either in our tap room or anywhere else around the state. And we plan on trying to fight that as much as we can. Look for some more info coming out on that pretty soon. I know the Brewers Association is going to start supplying us with information packets as well as things we can hand out to the consumers. So if you stop by, please ask us what's going on with it. And definitely we're going to need the help of every consumer as well. We'll probably start helping you get in touch with your local state legislature folks to let them know that we are not for raising taxes on anything, certainly let alone beer. Another good area that we discussed was just quality and integrity within a brewery, and it's something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. I think as a brewer, and sometimes you don't know this as a consumer, but we have to be committed to supplying, good quality beer out to the public. And if it's not good, if something's not quite right with it or it's wrong, we throw it out. Over the years, I've thrown out a lot of really good beers that just either something went wrong or maybe we forgot to do something and it just didn't turn out the way we wanted it. And if it's not perfect, we don't want to give it to you. Sometimes, we'll have a beer that will not really go the way we planned, but it's still a pretty decent beer, so we might put it out as a test batch or something to see what people think. But if it doesn't meet a good quality standard of being something palatable and something that's good for you, then we're just not going to put it out there. And I think it was a sentiment shared by every brewery that was at the meeting last night that, money's one thing, but we don't want to tarnish our reputation as craft brewers by giving you a bad product. Something else that came up last night, I know there was the subject matter of the panel was called the whimsical palate, and when I had a chance to comment, I certainly made everyone aware that as a real man, I don't use the term whimsical ever in anything that I describe, but the concept was around the ever-changing palate and popularity or fads of beer that are going on. And the discussion was, how do we all feel about that? Are we against it? Are we for it? What are we doing about it? And I think Sounds like a majority of the group was adamant that, you know, if you, the customer, have a desire for something, if you find a flavor appealing and you want to see it in a beer, let us know, and it'll get made and it'll probably take off and become the latest thing. That's why we have the New England style IPAs, those hazy IPAs going out there right now. I know there's a lot of brewers that don't like to make them. We were a little resistant at first, but the more I had people asking me about it, I thought, well, why wouldn't I make it? If these people want it, I'm going to make it for you. My firm belief is not to be judgy. I don't care if you like beer that's true to form, you know, a English mild or a German Bock beer, that you want it exactly how it's supposed to be made, served at the right temperature in the exact right purposeful glass. Hey, that's what we're going to make for you, and that's what I'm going to give you. But if you like experimentation, if you want, you know, something made with elderberries and flowers and honey and molasses, whatever, I'll put it in there. What do I care? If you're willing to buy it, I'm willing to make it. So please let us know if you have ingredients that you find appealing or something odd that you've never seen made in a beer. I'm always willing to try weird stuff like that. I'll do a small batch of it, and you know what, if I make it and it doesn't work out right, I'll throw it out. I do have a beer I made years ago that was around Christmas time, and it was supposed to be like a spruce IPA, or a Christmas tree beer is what I called it. And I cut up pieces of pine branches from our Christmas tree and threw it into the mash, into the boil, into the fermenter, and I used way too much, and it was awful, to say the least. It basically tasted like you were sucking on a pine tree, and it was not good at all. So I still have a bottle of that. One of these days I might open it up just to remind myself of why, when you experiment, not to get too crazy with things, you know, just kind of put your toes in the water first. But with that beer, I totally cannonballed. That's it for today. I just want to thank the Brewers Association of Pennsylvania for keeping things organized and lobbying on our behalf in Harrisburg. Thanks to Troegs for hosting a really awesome meeting and supplying us with lots of free beer and free food. That was really gracious of you guys, and hopefully your staff you know, didn't feel too put out by all of us, and we weren't too demanding on getting more beer and more food out. It was a really great experience. If you haven't been to Troegs, I really highly recommend you get there. I was glad to see that there were still cases of Mad Elf in the store, so I certainly left with one. Also, check out the Brewers of Pennsylvania website if you need to get information about things that are going on across the state, new breweries that are opening up, new beer releases or can releases. Those guys are, Chad and Matt are on top of that, and they're constantly putting out really great information, so please support them. Lastly, so I think that's all I have for everybody today. Please follow us on all our social media. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Instagram, Twitter. Do our podcast on Anchor. We'll be on Snapchat pretty soon. And if there's anywhere else you'd like to see us, please let us know. And definitely come by and see us in the tap room. Cheers, everybody.